Jorge. I'm not sure that a smoky eye was the best idea with a Pebbles bow tie. I'm just saying because... Oh, hey! Hi! It's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, Episode 4. And all I have to say is, Jorge, drink me! Ooh, what is this? Is very involved. What is this? What is this? It's the COVID-19 cocktail for those in self-quarantine. My mask is slipping. Confined. Okay, so let's get to it. So we started this week off with the girls returning to the workroom after Dahlia Sin's elimination, and they were shook. God bless them. It was easy to see how the other queens were surprised that Dahlia went home so early, because being in the room sitting next to her, all they see is beauty. But for those of us sitting at home, all we saw was boring. I mean, seriously, for all of these girls, it was their second episode of RuPaul's Drag Race and the first elimination. I think a couple of them were starting to get a little comfortable. Maybe one or two even forgot that there were going to be eliminations. But this was the cold slap on a Sunday morning that put the fear of Jesus into everybody. I'm so serious. So, the queens survived the first chop, and they were very quick to congratulate Sherry Pie for her first win of the season, but Aden, rightly so, took it upon herself to congratulate herself for a job well done. I mean, seriously, whether she contributed a lot as the leader of her group or not, she did pick Britta and Sherry to be on her team, and of her team, they had the winner of the whole challenge and two girls that were safe. So seriously, I don't think that Aden was wrong to feel very proud about what she did. And I also think she was right to say to Sherry Pie, the next time I tell you we're doing okay, listen to me. Seriously. Unfortunately, Britta wasn't listening to anybody but herself, who was still blaming Aden for all of her poor choices, I'm just saying. And Jan, poor self-centered Jan, all she wanted to do was win $5,000. Nothing wrong with that. No big crime. Seriously. But I think Jan's used to being the best just being Jan. But now Jan is in a room full of people who are already at their best. Being just Jan isn't going to help her this time. I'm so serious. She's got to step it up. And Nicki certainly didn't go easy on poor Crystal, saying that her lighter look was still way heavier than she would paint for herself on New Year's Eve, which makes me wonder, what the hell do women look like in Paris on New Year's Eve? There's like, makeup. I mean, if I was going to compare a holiday to me not wearing a lot of makeup compared to somebody, I would have said Halloween. Maybe they don't celebrate Halloween in Paris. The next day in the workroom, Britta was chomping at the bit to show the judges why she should win RuPaul's Drag Race, and even went as far as to tell the other queens that she had a dream where she did win RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm so serious. Now, personally, I think she's full of crap. I say it with love. I don't think she had that dream at all. What I think she was trying to do was get into some of those girls' heads. One head she didn't get into was Aden, because she said, and then you woke up. I like Aden. You don't expect much from her. And then when she gives it to you, it's more than you thought she had. Thank God Ru showed up with this week's mini challenge, which I have to say, this is a very controversial year for RuPaul's Drag Race. 12 seemed to be the wall where all of a sudden lots of things happen. I don't know if you've heard about this online. There's this whole thing about RuPaul and her husband making money on their land in Wyoming by fracking. And I know what you think. You think fracking is some sexy times out in Wyoming. No. Fracking is a way of extracting oil from the earth. And it's very, very volatile. And it's very aggressive on the ecology. And it releases a lot of methane into the air, which is one of the reasons that we have greenhouse gases. Of course, nobody talks about the fact that cows are the largest producer of methane on our planet. And that's including cars. But I digress. So there's been this not rumor, the facts. I mean, they're true. RuPaul's husband's land is rented out to a lot of oil companies who are paying a lot of money to get to this fossil fuel. Now, everyone has an opinion on fracking. People who rely on the modern auto industry and and natural gases and oils are all for it. Everyone else hates it. And personally, I don't know. Do I care about the earth? Sure I do. I do my part so that when I'm gone, I didn't make it too much worse, or at least that's how I like to go through my life. I can't set that bar for everyone else. I'm also not sitting on a huge property of land that somebody's offering me millions and billions of dollars to use, whether I care about it or not. Everyone makes choices. Everyone has opinions. Of course, the problem is that right now there's a lot of negative swing against RuPaul and her husband about this issue, which I thought made this week's mini challenge weird, because either it is some attempt to kind of give back to the ecology, or it's a proper product endorsement or charity endorsement. But either way, I just have to say, I felt like I needed to say something about this whole fracking issue before I went on with the fracking challenge. Well, it's just the mini challenge, but still. I hope that cleared stuff up. So anyway, this week's mini challenge was that the girls had to do the beehive jive. This is all to draw awareness to the declining population of bees in North America. So the girls did quick bee drag and went to it. Like busy little bees. I had to say it. I'm not going to talk about how all the queens did, but the standouts for me definitely were Widow Von Du out of the gate. Because the minute it was her time to jive, she just threw herself into a cartwheel. It surprised me, actually. I thought she tripped at first. But nope, she was dancing. Right after her was Rock'em Sakura, who threw herself all over the room in true Rock'em style. Heidi I liked because she had felt, well, where I won't get them with my dancing skills, I'm going to get them with a message. And she had written across her bumble bum, be, leave, bless her. Jada was serving, as far as RuPaul was concerned, Beyonce Realness. And then there was little Aden serving B, Arthur. I don't know. I thought she looked more like Eileen Stritch, but there's no B pun there. Just saying. But the surprise of the day for me was Miss Gigi Good. Didn't she just tell us 2 episodes ago that she can't even touch her toes? She's not a dancer. And there she was doing a cartwheel as well. Or was it a backflip? Backflip. I don't know. I thought somebody shot her at first. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And it was impressive. So it was no surprise. I have to say, I also loved her makeup, the little pink cheeks, and ooh, she looked gorgeous. So it was no surprise to me that Ms. Good won the mini challenge. And then Ru let them know all about this week's main challenge, which was a ball. And this week's theme was sports balls. So it was a ball. And they had 3 categories to go down the runway in. They had to do Lady Baller. They had to do Basketball Wife Realness. And then they had to do Balls to the Wall Eleganza. Now, for the first 2 looks, they could wear whatever they brought, anything they wanted. But the last look, the Balls to the Walls Eleganza, had to be made from balls. And so the queens got to it. Now, right away, Gigi Good was thrilled. She, her mother's a costumer. She's been taught by her mother how to make costumes. Gigi was ready for this challenge and was very excited to get going. The only person in the room that she seemed to be a little worried about, though, was Ms. Nicki Doll, who also seemed to have a very, very fashion-forward state of mind and was coming at this challenge with a plan as well. Seriously. Here's to the fashion queens. Let's see who reigns supreme. I'm just saying. Crystal wanted to channel Carmen Miranda. And if you don't know who Carmen Miranda is, well, you're probably 12. Carmen Miranda was a singer. She had all the fruit on her head. That's what she looked like. So Crystal really liked Carmen Miranda, so she said, because of her overabundance of accessoire, aka fruit in her head. And I think that Crystal was onto something because certainly it was an easy look to translate because fruit, balls, fruit. Who cares as long as they stay on your head? Just saying. Something else that impressed me about Crystal was her little moment where she said she would be excited to see some of the other queens go home or have trouble with this challenge. It's just a little competitive spirit coming out of Crystal. I liked it. Seriously. Of course, Nicki Doll was thrilled because this week she didn't have to speak English or work with anybody. It was just fashion, darling. Fashion. Ooh la la. While creating her look, Jan shared her background of being a soccer-playing Catholic schoolboy with a penchant for musicals. So a priest. The only person who seemed to be flummoxed by this whole challenge was Ms. High and Mighty Britta, no offense, but for somebody who has a lot of opinions about other people's looks, she wasn't putting hers together at all. She had no idea. I also have to say, I can understand why she wanted to go with that big inflatable ball, that big yellow ball, because there was no sewing. If she could have corseted that, it would have been fine. But she didn't. Just saying. While all this was going on, Rock'em Sakura decided that she would pull an old cosplay costume-making trick out of her dance bag, which was to create a corset out of duct tape. And that's super easy to do. Anyone can do it at home. You don't have to ruin a pair of tights. You can actually just put a garbage bag, just cut a garbage bag, the top off, put it over you, and then wrap duct tape around you until you're done, and then cut it up the back, and then you can cut shapes, draw the shape on it, cut them out, re-duct tape edges, and then you can cover it in fabric. It's not the best way to make something like that, but if you need something quick and it needs to match or whatever, it's actually quite an excellent way to just create that silhouette fast. Of course, no one else saw what she was doing, and it was just super annoying, all that tape pulling. Sounds like somebody's tucking an elephant. Tell your friends. Jada Essence Hall took the road less traveled by playing with white balls. I know what she means. I'm just saying. But she had this gorgeous drawing of a gown. It was very long, and it had all these balls on it, and then only on the side on the way down. It looked gorgeous. I thought it was an excellent drawing. But she didn't have enough balls. Who hasn't had that problem? I'm just saying. Which brings me to Aden Zayn. Bless her. First of all, the fact that Aden made a white and black striped look and didn't plan it to be a referee look for a sports ball challenge stuns me. The fact that she didn't even see that until Jan said it to her amazes me. It just proves to me that she's way too in her head, overthinking everything. And by overthinking everything, I mean comes up with elaborate excuses for being mediocre. And I say this with love. All of her excuses, well, I'm a minimal queen. Well, then go home. Then go home and be minimal. Go to Japan and be minimal. I'm not judging the aesthetic of minimalism, but this is a design challenge. Sasha Velour had the same problem. They said that she needed to step up her looks. She said she was a bald queen, and then she started wearing wigs. Even in this season, Crystal made an effort to change her makeup after being told that it was too distracting. So for Aden, no one cares if you're a minimalist. What they want to see is how well you can create things, where your design aesthetic is. And having a couple of sad, puffy little dust bunnies hanging off your hips and getting caught in your thighs is not a very good look. She could have very easily have left it that way and attached a white circle skirt to the bottom of that corset so that she had the black and white stripe graphic up top and then the black and white polka dot with the movement on the bottom. It would have been much more editorial. It would have elevated that whole look, and all she would have had to do was attach white fabric. She wouldn't even have to do a circle, just glue white fabric to the end of that sucker. Seriously. The next day in the workroom, the mood seemed light. Jan and Nicki had a spontaneous wig off and, well, it almost took out Nicki's eye. I'm so serious. Heidi was explaining to the girls that she was just thrilled that her dress didn't look like a big mess with balls stuck all over it. Wow, she was standing next to Rock'em Sakura's dress, which looked like a big mess. with a bunch of balls just stuck all over it. I'm so serious. And all the queens agreed that Aden Zayn hadn't done enough for her look, and they had no trouble telling her. Seriously. I hate this thing. It's in my way. Feeling safe, though. And can I just say, even though I totally don't buy Aden's excuse that she's a minimalist queen, I think that's just code for she lazy, or I think it's an even more complicated code for she has no idea what to do. She's barely able to do what she's creating, and that if they keep bugging her, she's going to slap a bitch. I think that's what's really going on with Miss Aden. But I have to say this, regardless of what's going on with the voices in her mind, she stuck to her guns and didn't let any of the girls make her feel that her look was any less than she said it was. Right or wrong, stick to your guns. Yes, I took it off. While Rock'em Sakura was painting a less than signature face, and in fact it was quite lovely, good blending and everything, she explained to the girls why she did paint the way she did, that her signature look came from being told, oh, it must be easy for you to do drag because you're Asian. Now, I have to say I was very surprised by that statement because I had never, I'm not Asian, no one says it to me, but I've certainly never thought that looking at an Asian person. I mean, I would say that the one thing about being Asian that may be a plus is having a smoother surface to face. Like, you don't have some big nose that takes over your face or really sunken eyes. Like, I think when you have a more even plain surface, you can create those hills and valleys. But when you're all hills and valleys, you got nowhere to go. I'm just saying. But I was surprised to hear that from Rocca, and it made me feel really sad for her. But I really liked that it spurned her. Like, if people thought she wasn't trying this, she would try harder. Because I have to say, it's the same with Trixie. It's the same with Kimchi. It's a staggering face to get used to out of the gate. But once you recognize what the shapes are and how they're assembling it, I've grown quite accustomed to her face. So that's a musical reference too. See, Sherry Pie's not the only one who can do it. I also think that Rock'em Sakura should be hired as a voice actor. If somebody who does animation is watching RuPaul's Drag Race and hasn't thought that themselves, because she's only done a few different little voices, but they're all incredibly different and all incredibly easy to listen to. Seriously, Rock'em Sakura, you get yourself an agent. Seriously. And then it was on to the runway. And I don't know if it was because Leslie Jones was there, but this is now my new RuPaul's favorite look. I just thought that this purple one shoulder, one arm bandit, the big hair, loved it, loved it, loved it. But the big moment for me this week was Leslie Jones. I love Leslie Jones. And the reason I love Leslie Jones is that she is still a human being. When she's in an environment like RuPaul's Drag Race, she's a fan. She's a fan first. She watches that show. She watches that show on her own, not because someone tells her to, not to get ready to be on the show, because she likes the show. She knew everything. She was videotaping RuPaul coming down, singing the song, screaming when she said her catchphrases. It's the best moment for me. Is just watching Leslie Jones on any show. She's just on Project Runway. She's hilarious on that. But she has great opinions. And as somebody who's a fan of the show, she also understands it so that those opinions are coming from at least an educated place. Educated to drag. Seriously. So, the first category, Lady Ballers. And first to the runway, Jackie Cox. Yes, I have it. I don't know why I keep forgetting to wave it for Miss Jackie, but I couldn't not wave it for Miss Jackie Cox because her Lady Ballers look was a Canadian national sport. Lacrosse. Most people think it's hockey. It's not. Canada's national sport is lacrosse. Now ask me how to play it. I don't know. I've never played. I've seen it on the TV every once in a while when I'm passing. But to be fair to lacrosse, I pass by basketball and I pass by all. I know. But Ms. Cox was giving us lacrosse realness or field hockey or a ball hockey, something. They weren't sure what lacrosse was, the judges, but they certainly loved Ms. Cox's look. And I loved Rue's lacrosse dresser comment. Nicki Doll's rhinestone football look was stunning. Her little Ellen DeGeneres wig, the holographic eye. Oh, so this is my favorite look she's worn yet. I'm not saying that I don't like the other things she's had on. They've all been great. But this, for me, I don't know what it was. Maybe because it's so glittery. I'm just a big magpie. I just want to glitter. Aden Zayn surprised me with her vintage baseball look with the classic hairdo and everything. The only thing I didn't understand was that harness. It just seemed kind of added on because there was nothing else going on in this outfit. Like she couldn't find just a simple little black belt or something. And again, the reason that I found it a little kind of added on last minute was because the color even didn't really go with it. It didn't distract me too much, but I just was curious as to why it was there at all. Thirdly, Rock'em Sakura's tetherball look was fabulous from the neck up. From the bottom down, I didn't really get it. And then once the ball was out of her head, it looked like somebody cut the top of her head off, so it was a little disturbing. But still, she was fun on the runway. That should be the title of her autobiography. Jada Essence Hall was serving us WNBA realness right up until she actually tried to bounce the basketball. But she looked good up till then, I'm just saying. Britta's baseball look just confused me right out of the gate. First of all, whatever she pulled out of her, it was disgusting. Of course, I thought condom. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? And second of all, the outfit itself, although very elaborate and well designed, I didn't understand it because it looked like a costume. It was almost on the border of being like a mascot costume for a sporting event. So I just didn't... I didn't hate it, I just didn't get it. God bless Crystal Method for thinking bowling is a sport. I know I'm going to get nailed now. It is a sport. But I just thought it was great that of all the sports that were to pick, that she went with bowling as opposed to one of the big three, football, basketball, or baseball. And she did it beautifully. Those hot pants, the flip wig, the glasses, and a softer visage that Michelle Visage seemed to appreciate. Quite a lot, I'm just saying. Jan's soccer look made her look more like a transformer, like she had been a soccer ball mere moments ago, and there she was. But it was gorgeous, well designed, and she looked great in it. So here's to you, Jan. Show those other girls how it's done. Heidi in Closet was another one who went down a different route by picking golf. I mean, golf's a very popular sport, but it's not the first one you think of. It's not up there. It's behind soccer, is what I'm saying. But what I liked about Heidi's costume was it was also very real looking. Although, I have to say, didn't understand that skirt. Almost like she had the skirt on upside down or something, because the green panels that went down the side seemed to come, they were like saddlebags, because they came in and it was weird, and it made this weird line across her thighs. But other than that, I thought she looked all right. Just saying. Of course, I absolutely love Sherry Pie's costume because it was a costume. It was gorgeous. Now, she said it was inspired after a Roald Dahl character, but what I saw for me was more like Divine in Women Behind Bars. You live cheap, you die cheap. So don't be cheap. That's what I saw, and I loved it. But regardless of the inspiration, it was another good look for Ms. Pie, just saying. I also really liked Widow's jockey outfit, but it was a little simple. I wish somehow maybe she had a better wig for it. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done to make that better, because I thought the outfit fit her very well, but the jacket itself, somehow or another, the lapels made me think more of a ringmaster in a circus. If she'd had a top hat, I would have said ringmaster, not jockey. But either way, it wasn't the worst look on the runway, I'm just saying. And neither was Gigi Good's Heather-inspired croquet look. That plaid jacket and the shorts, or there was a plaid kilt. There was a kilt because it was a private school. But that whole Heather's, it was, I knew immediately which one. She looks like Shannon Doherty. Is it Shannon Doherty? That's the first thing I thought when she came around the corner. And then when she said that it was, job well done, Gigi, because that's exactly what it looked like. I'm so serious. The next category was Basketball Wives Realness, and the first queen down the runway was our Ms. Jackie Cox in white mesh, which I thought was kind of meh. She didn't look like a basketball wife to me. She looked more like a music studio groupie who comes in with a new bag of Coke and takes the empties out as she goes. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Do basketball wives do that? Nicki's Basketball Wives Realness look was almost as good as her Lady Ballers look. I didn't hate it. I like the rhinestone look more, but that marabou vest and she just looked expensive. I just wish she looked like she was wearing pants. Just me. Aden's basketball wife realness was more like basketball mother realness, if you ask me. I didn't get that at all. I didn't even get the bag. There was nothing in it. Why was she carrying it? Seriously. Rock'em Sakura's look was gorgeous from the waist up, but from the waist down, I don't know what she's using for hip pads, but they look like they're still attached to the sofa. You know, personally, I think the color burgundy has had a bad run. I mean, even in kinky boots, the quote is, "Please don't tell me I inspired something burgundy." But they clearly haven't seen Jada Essence Hall in the color because she made it look good. The dyed fur, it was all the same tone. It worked with her skin. The wig was gorgeous. That was some basketball wife realness. Seriously. Now, I know that Britta said that her outfit was inspired by the Kim Kardashian Mueller dress at the Met Gala. Now, I don't go to the Met Gala. I certainly don't watch the Met Gala. I'm not interested in those people at all. So if she said that's what the dress looked like, then I'll agree with her. But I would also like to say that Kim Kardashian is not known for having good taste. So I would start by not dressing like her, is what I'd say. So I didn't like that dress. I thought it looked cheap. I thought she still looked kind of basketball wifey, but that dress really looked like something someone would wear on stage, not something someone would wear in person. Just saying. I almost gagged when Crystal came around the corner in her look because I had that moment where I was like, who is that? It's Crystal. That was a good face on her. Now, she's still painting hard, but painting less. And I love that there was a Paris Hilton reference, and then it was quickly changed to Paris Ramada. But still, I thought that Crystal looked really good. It was a good effort from her to give, especially Miss Michelle Visage, what she was asking for. Seriously. I didn't get Jan's outfit. I mean, I understood that it was a tracksuit. I get that. But what was that purse? Was it a shot put? Did she light it on fire and throw it at the enemies? Like, I didn't understand what that thing was. And Janelle, I know she was doing a play on Chanel, but Chanel wouldn't have worn that either. I think Chanel, she's famous for the quote, "Before you leave the house, take one thing off." She would have thrown that thing away. I'm just saying. So I wish that she had come out like she had come in at the beginning of the season with maybe a duffel bag, a very expensive glittery duffel bag. Glittery duffel bag was my drag queen in high school. The best and honest to God, most perfect basketball wife realness look was served by Miss Heidi N. Closet. This was a basketball wife. This is a woman who only has the best of the best. The only thing that was distracting about this whole outfit for me was that she needed a purse. That was my only thing. I wish she'd had a purse. I wish she'd had something just to give it some more gravitas. But seriously, Heidi's basketball wife look was my favorite. Someone else who surprised me, and not in a good way, with their basketball wife realness look was Sherry Pie. This wasn't real at all. This was a complete cartoon. And that money gun, that looked more like a MILF going to the strip club on her birthday than a basketball wife. Just me. Another look I didn't like very much was Widow Von Du's look. Those big sleeves and then the rest of it. I think the idea was good. I wish that the top had been more sleek, like no gathering across the chest, no gathered peplum. If it had been sleek and as close to her body and streamlined as possible, those sleeves would have told the whole story. But as it was, they were not only fighting the rest of the outfit, but each other to say anything. Seriously. Thank God Gigi Good came down the runway in that beautiful python trench coat and boots ensemble. And I liked her take on the basketball wife realness being a real ex-basketball wife. Good for her. Well done. You look good, Gigi. Which brings us to our last category of the ball, which was balls to the walls, eleganza. First down the runway, of course, our Miss Cox. And I have to say, I quite liked her Grecian one-shoulder metallic seafoam fantasy. And I really liked the way she had cut out sections of the soccer balls and use them as trim, because there was a minute there where I was looking at her whole look going, I don't see a ball there at all. And that was the point. Good for you, Miss Cox. Seriously. Nicki Doll served everybody some beautiful Saint-Tropez by the beach, but still needing to wear heels because we're not animals. Realness. She looked gorgeous. The colors were, well, a little garish for me. I compared this look a lot to Roxy Andrews' licorice whip dress. And I'm only going to say the reason I liked Roxy Andrews' look better was I felt the colorways were a little more pleasing to the eyes. This was a lot of orange and yellow and pink all together. And they can... Never mind. The best thing about Aden Zayn's last look down the runway was no pixie wig. Thank the sweet baby Jesus. But that's where the gratitude ends. Oh, bless her. You can practically hear Michelle Visage hate this as Aden was walking down the catwalk. I'm so serious. Another look that didn't make loving it easy was Rock'em Sakura's ball barf. That's just what I'm going to call it. I mean, it just was too much. It was too much. There was too much. There was a point where she came out and I don't even think my eyes and brain could connect to each other to process what I was looking at. All I saw was like a test pattern, just, nothing. It was so excessive. And you could see that this was born out of desperation. If Rock'em hadn't been so eager to be brilliant and to not fail, she would have done a much better look. Unfortunately, she tried so hard that she pushed herself too far and, well, created that. I still can't believe that she thought it was an appealing look. Seriously. Jada's balls to the walls extravaganza was that and more. Even though it wasn't a long gown, no, she ran out of white balls and she could only work with what she had. So I think that Providence gave her the best design, because by making the dress short and having the bubbles just literally from shoulder to hip, it looked more like she was in a tub of bubbles or had just taken a bubble bath. And the illusion was beautiful. Now, whether she was going for a bubble bath look with the gown, I don't know. But that's certainly what she ended up with the mini dress. And I think that it was a home run. That's a sports reference. Poor Britta. First of all, to wear 2 yellow dresses down the runway. I'm glad somebody brought that up later. But seriously, the minute she turned around the runway in that first yellow dress, I thought, is that the yellow dress she was working on? Is that, because that looks good. I was impressed. But no, this was the yellow dress she was working on. And there's no confusion as to why the judges were confused as to whether it was corn or a pineapple. A corn apple. Oh, it still sounds gross. Barf. But it didn't look bad. The dress itself wasn't horrible. But I think that if Britta wanted to look like a pineapple, she would have done yellow up to here, or at least up to here, and then green hair. No yellow up top. No break yellow, green, yellow. Like, it just, she didn't make it easy for the judges is what I'm saying. Crystal's ball look was everything that Rock'em Sakura's wasn't. It was much more thought out, much better placed, much more pleasing to the eye. And it still did evoke a bit of the Carmen Miranda mystique. Good for you, Crystal, seriously. Jan's blue ball fantasy was absolutely gorgeous. So editorial. I thought she did an excellent job. I'm sorry that Heidi and Closet followed her right after, because I didn't hate Heidi's look, really, but I didn't love it. I agree. I think she looked a bit like Uncle Fester on acid. There was a lot going on with Heidi. I didn't hate it, but it was a real mess. Just saying. I also didn't love Sherry Pie's look. I didn't understand this at all. I didn't understand what it had to do with balls. I mean, I don't even think there were any balls on it. Maybe 2 or 3 as mossy mud clumps, which was also my drag queen name in high school. But I just didn't get it. I didn't understand this look. And for me, this was a big fail for Sherry Pie for the season. And my second look I didn't like from her this episode. Saying. Now, I want to say this about the Widow Von Du's outfit. I did not hate it. It looked very tribal, and the structure of it I thought was so unique until we got down to those yellow shoes. Oh my God, I am so glad that the judges made fun of her shoes because they were hideous. I couldn't get my eyes, boom, they fell there and they stayed there. I couldn't believe that she wore those. I would have worn anything. I would have taken a magic marker to those shoes. What I can't believe is that she didn't put balls on them. I mean, are they expensive yellow shoes? Because they're not. And while I'm talking about the judges, did anyone else think that they were particularly lippy? They had a lot to say. They cut a lot of people down a peg or two. They had some smart mouth comments to be said. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say, I blame Leslie Jones. Seriously, she's the instigator. And finally, we had Gigi Good's Balls to the Walls extravaganza. She went all out on this. This thing had a zipper. It had box pleats. It had a turtleneck. It had set-in sleeves. There was a hat. It was stunning. And then those balls that she glued on everything, the color and size, it really did look like a gumball fantasy. And she looked gorgeous in it. I'm so serious. So when the runway lights dimmed, it was no surprise to me that Jackie Cox, Crystal Method, Jan, Heidi in Closet, and Sherry Pie were safe. So was the Widow Von Du, but to remain safe, she had to promise to throw out those shoes. So the remaining queens braced themselves for a stern judging. First up was Nicki Doll, and Ross loved her. He loved every look she came down that runway in. He said to her that he wanted fashion from her, and she didn't disappoint. Of course, the same can't be said about Michelle Visage. You still felt there was some veil keeping the real Nicki Doll from the rest of them. And I have to say, Nicki's in good company because she's not the only queen that's had this critique. The one other queen I think of right away is Chad Michaels. They said similar things to Chad. And I think it's because they're both professional. When they're on that runway, they're being professional and they're forgetting to be human. And this isn't a pageant, it's RuPaul's Drag Race. So they like a little more humanity in it. So hopefully that's something that Nicki Doll can pick up on. Seriously. All the judges seemed to love Aden's first look, but they were less than impressed by everything else. I'm so serious. Leslie Jones was a huge fan of Rock'em Sakura's, but both Michelle and Ross hated her balls. Who hates balls? Leslie Jones also was not very impressed with Jada Essence Hall basketball skills, but she looks so damn good in all her looks. Who cares? Seriously. Michelle Visage was absolutely unimpressed by everything that Britta brought to the runway this week, and none of the judges thought she looked anything like a pineapple. And all the judges were super impressed by Gigi Good, not just her looks down the runway, but the look that she made. And Gigi was so grateful for the compliments that she did nothing but compliment her mother, who she credits for all of her skill, taste, and talent, which is a lovely thing. Good for you, Gigi Good. I'm so serious. Loving your mama. So it was no surprise to me that Gigi Good won the main challenge, and she also won the mini challenge. So this was a great week to be good. Do you see what I did there? And landing in the bottom, it was no surprise to me that, well, one of them was Rock'em Sakura, but the other one was a bit of a shock to everyone just because of who she is and the reputation she came into RuPaul's Drag Race with. It was Britta. All of a sudden, all that big talk, and she's in the bottom. I'm so serious. I know that this was a hard pill for her to swallow because right before they announced she was in the bottom, Ru said that Aden Zayn was safe. She did half the work and was safe. Just something I'm pointing out to somebody who likes to judge. Just saying. No offense to Rock'em Sakura, but I knew she'd lost this lip sync before she even started. And it wasn't because of her security or confidence issues. It was because of that dress. The fact that she had to rip that hem off. I'm surprised she didn't bring some scissors out. Lots of queens have brought scissors or something out but she wrestled with that. By the time she got that damn bottom of this dress off, the song was halfway through. Everyone had already been watching Britta. Rock'em hadn't lip sync at all. And so anything she did after that was almost too little too late. And that's sad because she did everything. She did slow splits. She did jump splits. She did splits. The one thing I have to say, there was this one moment where Britta was like watching her do something and she just stood in front of her. And you could tell the judges knew what she was doing because she was blocking Rockham, but they were laughing because it was like, yeah, okay, how are you going to make us look at you? And I have to say, as sad as it was to watch Rockham, just, you could see it in her face, the desperation and everything. It was extra heartbreaking when we were told that Britta shantaed, and it was Rockham Sakura who sashayed away. And she didn't just sashay away, she wailed. I thought somebody had been shot. You know, she just was, it was just too devastating. And I have to say that this is, I'm just going to say this again, not the best environment for people who are emotionally fragile or have confidence issues. Like, this is not the place to figure those things out. And I don't think anything's more evident of that than Rockham's reaction to her elimination, bless her. Hopefully she'll be able to get over herself and just be the performer that she knows she is. But until that happens, bless her. I hope she doesn't make her life too hard on her. I'm sorry, because I already think she makes life hard enough on herself as it is. I'm just saying. So, there you have it. 11 queens left. What do you think? Do you think Rockham should have gone home? If she wasn't going home this week, she wasn't lasting too much longer. If it wasn't going to be Rockham, who do you think should have gone home? Was there anything that the judges said you didn't agree with? Well, you should leave me a comment down below because I answer everybody. Sooner or later, I get back to them. I might get busy a little in the week there, but I try and answer everybody. Also, while I'm talking about messages down below, shut your face, I've also listed ways that you can support me if you're so inclined. I can take a one-time tip on PayPal. I can do my Patreon page is a great place to get more Wilma content because I do my weekly watcha there, and you can see me answer viewer questions. I also accept viewer questions on Patreon and answer those out. So there's another way you can support me if you're so inclined. Also, you get your name in the credits, so just say. There's also my Redbubble page where I have some swag, t-shirts, phone cases, notepads, stickers, all of it. You can do all of it from down there. So, that's it for this week. Until next week, miss me! Mwah! Seriously, Jorge. I love a classic. Little crayon, little vodka, lots of life. Yummy!